So I'm going to give a summary of 16 months, 17 months, so a year and a half, close to, of my analysis work as a hobby, of course, while having a full-time job. And this basically closes out this project for now because I need to move on to linear algebra and abstract algebra. So I'll say a couple of things, but first I'll show the things that were attained and the things that need to be attained. So in the beginning, the project began by me reading Wade, and I read the entire book and I did problems in every single chapter. Then I moved on to complex analysis using Saff and Snider, read the whole book, also did problems in every single chapter. And of course all these videos are in my channel. Then I started on conformal mapping, but this book did not really fit what I wanted to do. The problems were a little too hard, there were too few, there were not enough examples. But I read, if I remember correctly, I read the beginning parts of the book, did a couple of problems, and called it quits. Then I started on the long march on Baby Ruden, what I call the Baby Ruden project, and I've gotten as far as reading half the book. Half the book is up to the end of chapter 7, and then there's another half, which is 8, 9, 10, 11, and yeah, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's right. So the book's got 11 chapters. And of course, yeah, that's as far as I got, and I only did problems in chapter 1. So the day that I pick up this project again, that's what I'll do. Continue working on problems. It's going to be more problems than reading, which is great, since I usually enjoy the problems more than the reading. Then I read this entire book, and I did problems in all 5 chapters. So Mendelson's number systems taught me a lot. It's what helped me with chapter 1 of Baby Ruden. Then I read this book, but I did not do a single problem. I found the book a little too hard and just not easy to work through. Although I think I learned a few things like paracompactness. Definitely it's a comeback after I have read Moncrief's Topology and worked problems in that book. So this is yet another project for a later time. Then for the supporting books that I used for the Baby Ruden project, of course today I just finished reading Bartle and Sherbert, so I did read the whole book, even though I only did problems in chapter 1, 2, and 11, the chapter 11 problems, Topology. So a lot more left to do. Yeah, a lot more left to do. Then for Abbott, I read a couple of the first chapters. I think it was chapters 1 through 4. And yes, it was a very good book to read. Another one to complete at some other time. And then this book, Thomson, Bruckner, I thought about not doing it at all, but then I launched on it and I read about half the book. Great book. I also did a bunch of problems from it in the early chapters. Yet another book that needs to be revisited. It's got a lot of problems. And so, yeah, another revisit. So going back to, and then I'll just talk a little bit about the project itself while I bring up some of the books that I was showing. But then, so these are the notes only for Baby Ruden. The notes for the other 2 analysis books for Wade and Saff and Snider are somewhere else. And anyways, there would be like a lot more. So it'd be like this whole screen. So yes, over the course of 17 months, I did a lot of work, even a lot of problems. But going back to what this project was about with Baby Ruden, I think there's a couple of lessons that I learned from this project as a hobby project. Number 1, doing it with multiple books as I did was a good idea at the wrong time. Really, the project became a death march. It has been for like the last few months because there's just so much material. It's overwhelming. And at this stage in my development as a self-taught or attempting to be a mathematics person, I really need to master a lot of linear algebra and abstract algebra to move on with other topics as well. And so there's really a second round for this project that will have to happen later. even though I really wanted to go through, the more that I kept going in, I realized I could easily, to really fully do what I set down on that schedule with problems, which is what really matters. It's a contact sport. You have to do problems. Just the reading is not enough. It was going to be years and years and years. So hopefully, God willing, that will happen later on in my life. But right now, I have to say, I learned a lot. I read a lot. I did some problems. And algebra is calling.